you can see in our matrix, that's the prime row, right? So they're just blocking off these three, 0, 11, 8, or otherwise known as F sharp, F, D, okay? And they're blocking off, here's 10, 9, 6, the next little segment of the prime row. So there you go, 10, 9, 6. And then our next little segment, 3, 7, 2, and then 5, 4, 1 right there. All right, so they're just blocking these off and calling them segments or trichords. See that these 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11 are just transpositions of this original one, right? So everything, it's this. So moving down a half step and then down down a third, right? Down a half step, down a third, down a half step, down a third, just starting on different notes. So you just want to point out that this, you can segment this into threes, and then you'll find this little transposition within the prime row. And therefore, it's within all of the others as well. All of the other inversion, retrograde, and retrograde inversion possibilities. All right? So the rest of the analysis, so now we're going to look at the original composition and see what we can find in this analysis. So we're going to be looking for rows. Now, the prime row usually always, the first 12 notes always establish that prime row. So that's always going to be prime. And here we've got, we can look at the same time, at the beginning. Here we go. All right, so we've got F sharp, and we go to F natural and D. So there's our first little trichord, right? 0, 1, 2. And this right here, don't let this screw you up. This is the order of the notes, these numbers right here. So we've got first note, second note, third note, fourth note, fifth note, number 4, right? And then here they're splitting them up according to the prime row and how they can work it out. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So they're doing the piano part, and then they seem to be separating the vocal part as far as order goes. So we've got F sharp, F, D, and then E natural, D sharp or E flat, and then our next note is C, so we're going to find number 5. So here's our C, so let me go to bass clef, so keep that in mind. C, then 6 is A, 7 C sharp, and then finally G sharp is 8. Then we go back to treble clef, keep that in mind, with B for 9, and then for number 9, and then A sharp or B flat, notice this is treble clef again, and then finally we end on G. So that's our prime row. So when we're analyzing this, we label these 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for the order. And I would personally probably order these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's no established rule about what numbers you use to write this. The 0, 1, 2, 3 is when you're dealing with the actual pitch classes, and not the order of the numbers. They just did this to you to be even more confusing. So we're going to call this whole little section right here P0, because that's prime 0. Now, here we get a combination of, we get G, E natural, and G sharp, or D sharp, right? So G, E, D sharp. So we've got to look at our list, our matrix, right? We've got to look for something that goes G, E, D sharp. And we're looking around, check it out, G, E, D sharp. So it could be this guy, retrograde inverse 2. So let's let's check it out. Let's see if we can find more evidence to support that. All right, so we've got G, E, D sharp, and then our next note, we're in treble clef, so it's going to be an F sharp. Is our next note F sharp? Yes, it is. Okay, and then our next note, C sharp, yep. And then our next note, we've got this, again, we've got this 4-note chord here. So we have to figure out the order. So this actually is nice because this gives us a little bit of leeway in how we distribute this. So we want, because our last note was C sharp, we want our next note to be F. Is there an F in this chord? And there is. Yes. So here's our F. So this is number 5. Okay. And then we need D next. Is there a D in the chord? Yes, that's number 6. So this is how they figured this out. And then is there a, let's see. So we get D, and then we're looking for C sharp next. Is that true? No, wait, sorry, next one. Sorry, B. Fat fingers. So, and B is our next note. And then our next note we're looking for is an A sharp or a B flat. Yes, we got it. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and then we've got to find our next notes. And is it going to be C, A, G sharp? Why, yes, it is. C, A, G sharp. So we are going to call this row, this series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this little grouping right here, we're going to call them retrograde inversion 2, RI2. That's really all you have to do for this. And you're just kind of finding the rows and labeling, okay? And sometimes what's going to happen is you're going to get an overlap, right? So here, we've actually got the G is 11, but it's also our 0. So you've just got to kind of look at how they cluster out. Because if we look for E, D sharp, right, and then F sharp, do we have one that does that? E, D sharp, F sharp. So here's an E, no. E, D sharp, nope. Let's see if we can find another one. Let's see, E, G, nope. And then let's see, E, no. So we don't have a row that starts with that, right, that we can make that work. But we do have one that does G, E, D sharp if we overlap it. Okay? So that's all they're doing for analysis, literally. Okay, so when you're dealing with these chords, you just kind of see where they're going to fit in the row, or if you've got a row that can work with these. Okay? So it's really not too bad, the analysis stuff. And if you like things like Sudoku, then this is your jam. So when they're doing further analysis beyond that, we're saying, well, if you're looking at form, the composition, basically, and again, these compositions do not fit, super tight form. You're not going to find sonata form or ternary form generally in here. So this is a song. It's based on a poem, which basically breaks into 2 strophes. So here's our first strophe, and here's our second strophe. All right, so they're saying, yeah, first strophe, retrograde inversion of the series, followed by the first 4 notes of the same, generally. So, and this is analyzing the voice part. So if we look at our voice part back here, we can see we've got G, E, D sharp, F sharp. So let's see if we can find a spot. So we've got G, E, D sharp, F sharp. So here's G, A sharp, B. No, that's not going to work. Let's see, G, F sharp, D sharp. Not going to work. Let's see if we can find G, E. Oh, here we go. G, E, D sharp, F sharp. Okay, G, E, D sharp, F sharp. Right there. So then we keep going and we see if it's based on anything, right? Now we go C sharp, F, D. What happens? C sharp, F, D. Good. We're still good. All right, and then we've got our next B B flat, C. So here's our D. Ooh, this one breaks away. So we've got G sharp. Oh wait, I'm the wrong one. G natural. There you are. So G, E, D sharp, F sharp, and C sharp, F, D. Oh, there we go. So B, A flat, or A sharp, B, A sharp, or B flat, C, A, and G sharp. Okay, and then again we get G, E, D sharp, F sharp, G, E, D sharp, F sharp. So this is the first stroke. It's just using the retrograde inversion 2 plus retrograde inversion 2, the first 4 notes. So it just repeats right here. So we just get a little fragment. And then he moves to retrograde inversion 0, or retrograde 0 for the voice part. So retrograde 0, G, and then again, you can't immediately repeat a note, all right? So you can't have a note in between, but you can play G twice and then move on. So keep that in mind. That is a rule that they gave themselves. So occasionally you will see a double note. But what you won't see is G and then some other note and then G again. So G won't return unless it's an immediate repeat until we've gone through the entire, like this, right? So we can't go through until we've gotten through the entire row. So that's basically what they're doing. So they're saying that this first strophe, this first chunk of dialogue or language is, the first strophe is based on the retrograde inversion 2, and then in their analysis, the second strophe is just retrograde 0. And as for the voice part, now the piano part is a little different. It's inversion 2, and then, so all you're doing is looking at these, right, ordering them. So that's the toughest part, is to figure out what order all of these go in, and write that in, and then figure out finding out the matrix and having one of these to work off of is actually more of the easy part. So, if we continue with the analysis, they break it up and they say, okay, so second strophe for the vocal part is the retrograde of the original series followed by the complete retrograde inversion. All right, and then they say, so the overall form, it's kind of a two-part form. There's an A section from measures 1 to 5, and then a B section from 6 to 12. Okay, and then they basically start analyzing the accompaniment. So the selection of transpositions in the accompaniment is as follows. So these are the various rows that they use. So here's the first part, A. This is A, this is B. All right, so P0, retrograde inversion 2, prime again, and then retrograde inversion 2. So it's going to go prime, retro inversion, prime, retro inversion 2. And here we get actually 5 rows, it's a little bit longer. Retrograde, and then inversion 2, prime, retrograde. So they're not going to use every single row, and not every single row is necessarily going to work for a composition. Generally, they find a couple that work really well together, and then repeat them and work with that.